Anna and David had been married for 5 blissful years. Their love was strong, and their bond seemed unbreakable. In the first 3 years, they didn't worry about not having children, believing that nature would take its course in due time. But as they celebrated their 5th anniversary, the pressure from David's mother, Evelyn, began to mount. Evelyn was a traditional woman with firm beliefs about family and heritage. She was desperate for grandchildren and felt that her son and daughter-in-law were not taking the matter seriously enough. Her first step was to bring herbal medicines to Anna, convinced that the issue lay with her. Despite taking the concoctions faithfully, there was no change. Growing increasingly frustrated, Evelyn sought the help of a local prophet. The prophet declared that Anna had a spirit husband, a supernatural entity that would prevent her from ever bearing children. This revelation only added to Anna's misery, but David stood by her side, comforting and reassuring her that they would face this challenge together. Evelyn, however, became relentless. She began to harass Anna, making hurtful remarks and creating a hostile environment in their home. David, though supportive, was caught in the crossfire and began to feel the weight of his mother's expectations. Eventually, he succumbed to the pressure and started to distance himself from Anna emotionally, causing a rift in their once perfect relationship. The situation took a drastic turn when Evelyn brought a young woman, Maria, into their home, presenting her as a potential second wife for David. Initially, David resisted, loyal to Anna despite their struggles. However, Evelyn's constant nagging and Maria's allure wore him down, and he agreed to take Maria as his second wife. Anna was devastated. The betrayal cut deep, and she felt isolated and alone. Evelyn forced Anna to move into the guest room, which felt like a banishment. It was there, amidst her tears, that Anna discovered a Bible tucked away in an old wardrobe. Desperate for solace, she began to read it and found a strange comfort in the words. As days turned into weeks, Anna immersed herself in prayer, seeking strength and guidance. Meanwhile, Maria, sensing Anna's vulnerability, did everything in her power to make life unbearable for her. The more Maria tormented her, the more Anna turned to her faith. Her prayers became fervent, her hope rekindled. One day, while walking through the streets, Anna heard angelic voices singing. The sound was so beautiful that it drew her towards a small church. She entered and was overwhelmed by the sense of peace that enveloped her. She knelt at the altar and wept, pouring out her heart in prayer. The pastor, hearing her cries from his office, came to her side. Anna shared her story, and together they prayed for divine intervention. Anna began attending church regularly, finding a renewed sense of purpose and peace. Her faith grew stronger, and she felt supported by her new church family. One night, after an intense prayer session, Anna had a vivid dream. She saw David with a young girl who claimed to be pregnant with his child, but David rejected her, insisting the child wasn't his. Disturbed by the dream, Anna confided in the pastor. He advised her to continue praying and to trust that God was revealing something important. As Anna prayed, she felt a clarity she had never experienced before. After Anna's disturbing dream about David and the pregnant girl, she confronted her husband. At first, David vehemently denied knowing anything about it. But as Anna pressed him with the details from her dream and the clarity of her conviction, David's defenses crumbled. With a heavy heart, he admitted that when he was younger, a girl had indeed told him she was pregnant with his child, but he had denied it out of fear and pressure from his parents. Feeling the weight of his past mistakes, David agreed to accompany Anna to the pastor. The pastor listened intently to their story and then, with wisdom and compassion, advised them. "Since you have accepted the truth," he said, "you need to find this woman and apologize to her. Only then can you truly seek forgiveness and healing." Determined to make amends, Anna and David embarked on a journey back to David's village. They asked around discreetly, inquiring about the girl from David's past. After several days of searching and speaking to various villagers, they were finally led to a small, humble home on the outskirts of the village. The woman, named Grace, initially refused to speak to them, her pain and bitterness evident in her eyes. But after much pleading and sincere apologies from both Anna and David, she relented and told her story. Grace recounted how her parents had kicked her out when they discovered her pregnancy. desperate and alone. She wandered the streets with no money, no shelter, and no help. She took on various jobs, but her condition made it impossible to keep any of them for long. Eventually, she resorted to hawking goods under the blazing sun, with no place to rest. 8 months into her pregnancy, Grace fell ill. Weak and in pain, she found herself on the streets when labor pains began. She screamed for help, but passers-by ignored her cries. Alone and terrified, she delivered a stillborn baby on the cold, unforgiving street. The trauma and despair were unbearable, and in her grief, she swore that David would never hear the cry of a baby, cursing him for the pain he had caused her. Eventually, some kind strangers found her and took her to a hospital, where she received medical help just in time to save her life. But the emotional scars remained, and she had carried that bitterness for years. As Grace finished her story, tears streamed down her face, and David was sobbing uncontrollably. He dropped to his knees, begging for her forgiveness. "It was the pressure from my parents that made me deny the pregnancy," he confessed. "I was young and foolish, and I didn't understand the consequences of my actions. I am so sorry for the pain I caused you." Anna joined David, holding his hand and pleading with Grace to forgive them. "We are deeply sorry for everything you've been through. We want to make things right, whatever it takes." Grace watched them, seeing the sincerity in their eyes. After a long moment of silence, she sighed deeply and said, "I don't know if I can ever forget what happened, but I can see that you truly regret your actions. I forgive you." David and Anna were overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. They thanked Grace profusely, promising to stay in touch and help her in any way they could. They left the village with a sense of peace, knowing they had taken the first step towards healing. Back in their own town, he confronted Evelyn, insisting that Maria leave their home immediately. Though furious, Evelyn had no choice but to comply. Maria, exposed and humiliated, left quietly. David and Anna continued to attend church and pray together. Their bond grew stronger, and they felt a renewed sense of purpose. Several months later, Anna fell ill and went to the doctor. To their astonishment, the doctor confirmed that she was pregnant. The news felt like a miracle. They shared the joy with their church and community, feeling the support and love from everyone around them. When Anna gave birth to a healthy baby boy, they named him Samuel, which means God has heard. Evelyn, seeing the joy in her son's eyes and the strength of his marriage to Anna, finally relented. She apologized to Anna, acknowledging her mistakes. The family came together, and their home was once again filled with love and laughter. Anna and David knew that their faith and perseverance had brought them through the darkest times. They were grateful for the lessons learned and the blessings they received. With little Samuel in their arms, they looked forward to the future, knowing that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together with faith, hope, and love.